Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Government, Labor, and Elections Subcommittee Alcohol. We are glad that you are here with us on today. We will be discussing, we have on our agenda a total of 8 bills. It's certainly aggressive, but we will certainly do our best to move through those expeditiously as possible. But with this being our very first subcommittee meeting, we certainly know that there very well may be questions. We have our staff present with us today, Tyler and Kyra, to answer and assist us in the process as well. According to the agenda, I'm going to take some of the bills out of order. Since the list had been printed, there are 3 bills in particular that have moved either out of the Senate or they have also already received a vote in Senate Finance. So I'd like to take those off of the top. So the first bill for today is going to be House Bill 1203. And that has that cross-file of Senate Bill 802. And that one has unanimously moved out of the Senate. Staff, could you please explain what House Bill 1203 does?
Course. House Bill 1203 establishes a special event permit in Garrett County, adds a salary substitute member to the Garrett County Board of License Commissioners, authorizes the holders of specific alcohol beverages licenses with a catering option to sell alcoholic beverages anywhere in the county to a person of legal drinking age on premises that either does not have a license or a temporary license issued by the board, and requires applicants for alcoholic beverages licenses to include on the application for a license the applicant's citizenship status as specified.
Okay. So as I stated, this bill has moved unanimously out of the Senate, but I certainly want to be able to give our members the opportunity to answer any questions or ask any questions that you may have with regards to this bill. Do we have Delegate Heinbach with us on this morning? Okay. I don't see him. Are there any questions from our subcommittee members?
I apologize, Madam Chair. Which bill were we talking about?
1203.
Brief indulgence.
Sure.
Move the bill.
Is there a second? Is there discussion? And I know our Delegate Wilson is working to get the bill in front of him. You good?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. All right. There being no discussion, and it's been moved and seconded, can I ask for a vote? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion's carried, and House Bill 1203 has been approved. Thank you. The next bill I want to move to is House Bill 1286. As I stated, this one actually just came out of finance, I want to say last night, but it was a vote from 9-1. And staff, will you please explain the bill?
House Bill 1286 is an Anne Arundel County bill. It expands the existing barbershop and beauty salon license to include liquor. It already allows them to serve beer and wine to customers, and this would just add a serving of liquor.
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Sure.
Are there how many other jurisdictions are currently doing this outside of beer and wine?
Montgomery County is the only other jurisdiction that currently includes liquor.
On this bill, let's see who else we have. Delegate Pruski's office had indicated, I think he's going to be on, as well as Matt and Abe for additional input and information. But any additional questions from my members first? Okay, Matt or Abe, is this, do you have additional information to shed on the subject?
Madam Chair, I'm not here for this bill. I'm here for 2 bills, 766 and 1111.
Okay, I received an email from Delegate Pruski's office and it had your name on here as well.
Okay.
For 1286. Okay.
Yes, no, I'm here for 1111, which
Okay.
is a Pruski bill.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right, not hearing any additional concerns or questions at this time. Is there a motion to approve House Bill 1286? Not
Move the
hearing.
bill.
Okay, I got a motion to move the bill. Is there a second? Not hearing a second.
I'm
okay.
wondering if maybe Delegate Wilson's concerns could be addressed by someone before I go ahead and second it. It does seem
Sure.
like going into some new territory here. So maybe just wait until we can get some clarification.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Because I just know from my days in the State's Attorney's Office, we start going these directions. We can't stop. I didn't know Montgomery County had it, so I understand. I don't understand the true need, but I also know that we had issues in some of the jurisdictions with, I don't know, barber shops that were nightclubs at night. And so I'm just curious as to what the push was for this. So, yeah.
Yeah, so if we could hold this till our next meeting.
Okay, one question I did have, I don't know if council has that. So I noticed that on the bill, it does speak about the variations in ounces, the 12 for beer, 5 for wine, and then 1.7 for the liquor. Is that the same in Montgomery County? Is that just standard, or is this particular bill shedding or treading new territory as far as the ounces as well?
It looks like the exact same numbers from Montgomery County.
Okay.
On the sum note, I know we probably want a fuller conversation. The bills, at least as written, require that a customer be receiving a barber service, so like a haircut or a shave, or a cosmetology service in a beauty salon in order to be served. But that probably doesn't address all of the concerns that Delegate Wilson raised.
Absolutely. So at this time, let's hold this bill. When we receive a lot of the alcohol bills, some are shifting into new territory altogether, and where some I've seen are kind of standard. So I want to make sure our subcommittee is in the posture of having all questions answered and being comfortable with the legislation as well. Before I move on, I have a hand raised. Thomas, from ATCC. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, just for technical purposes, the reason the 1.7 ounce is specifically listed in there is because that's the new kind of form of airplane bottles. And when they wanted, if there was testimony during the hearing where I think Delegate Pruski stated they wanted to kind of have like a mixer or little alcohol bottle to kind of mix drinks and prepare on premises. But that 1.7 is the airplane bottle size.
And just on that, so the amount that they're talking about serving, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's not clarified to the point that they can only serve one time. They're just saying that the drinks that they serve will be limited to 1.7 ounces of liquor, no matter how many drinks you get. Fair?
I'm just looking at the text right now.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put you in the spot. I'm saying it seems like it's the limit for the alcohol. It's the way I understand it is almost comical because you can serve, multiple drinks at 1.7 ounces.
It does say, sir, the license authorizes the license holder to provide not more than 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, 1.7 ounces of liquor. I would defer to the Anne Arundel County Board in regards to how they interpret those regulations to maybe it is a one drink period. But I couldn't necessarily tell you. I would defer to the Anne Arundel County Board there.
The language doesn't currently say that. And so the way it is so if I pour you that drink, that's what I've done. Not more than 1.7 ounces. However, I could give you, it doesn't say per customer or per visit. So the presumption would be that you could actually do it multiple times and give them as many drinks as they order. Ergo, set up almost like a bar system.
Absolutely. Okay. So defining that may be one way to, move in the discussion of putting some parameters around it.
Yes, please.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so we're holding House Bill 1286. Let's move now to House Bill 121. That bill has unanimously moved out of the Senate. And Council, can you please explain that bill?
House Bill 121 is a Baltimore County bill, and it would authorize Class B or D alcoholic beverage license holders to obtain an additional permit in order to sell mixed drinks or cocktails in a closed container for off-premises consumption. So basically, they can sell mixed drinks to go.
Okay. Are there any questions or concerns with House Bill 121 from the committee? Delegate Kerr, I see your hand, and also see Delegate Wilson's.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tyler, am I correct that this must accompany a to-go meal?
Yes, Delegate Shalega is on. It's
Oh,
my
Delegate's
bill.
here.
Yes, you must have a meal.
Okay, yeah, I remember this bill. Okay,
And we passed it last year out of the delegation unanimously, and it just got held up near the end. It's passed unanimously yesterday out of the Senate, and you must have food, and we're giving the most of the regulatory discretion to the Liquor Board in Baltimore County, and it's done in Howard County right now.
okay, thank you. That was what I thought.
And Howard County is the only county that currently does this, or are there other counties?
Well, we all did it during COVID. So during COVID, every county allowed cocktails to go as the nickname for the bill. And as we've moved out of COVID, Howard County allows it. I think other counties may be loosely allowing it, but we've had our local restaurants ask to not have any gray. Let's say yes, this is allowed. And I'll just point out in Baltimore County, these restaurants are allowed to sell beer, to sell alcohol. So you could literally go to a restaurant, pick up a handle of vodka and take it home, or to pick up a 6-pack of High Noons or margaritas in a closed container. So this just lets them make their own custom orange crushes or margaritas, but you have to have food. You have to be ID'd. We're not letting Uber Eats deliver. Nobody can deliver it. It's very controlled, and just helping our restaurants have another avenue to try to increase their sales and revenue.
Okay. Delegate Shalega, can you just highlight the part where it says that the board may limit the quantity of alcoholic beverages that are to be sold to an individual?
Right. We're just saying you can't go pick up like a gallon or 2 gallons of margaritas with a bag of chips. And the liquor board's going to spell all that out. We want to make sure that this is the intent of the law is what's going to happen. And I think it will. Like I said, we've got some great restaurants that make their own sangria, margaritas, other mixed drinks. And frankly, you can cork a bottle of wine that's half drank right now and take it home with you. So this is going to do what we did during COVID and allow consumers the choice they need.
All right. And the last thing I'll mention in reading the text, it references that none will be sold after 11 p.m. And I think that may still have been the same practice during COVID.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're not a liquor store, although you can go to a liquor store and buy these drinks in a sealed container. This is more of a homemade local flavor to drinks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Members, is there any additional discussion on House Bill 121?
I move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
No. Madam Chair.
Yes. Hi, Delegate Roof.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I'm here so my vote can be recorded. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so we have one on opposition of 121. Okay.
Madam Chair, I was in favor. I'm sorry. I just wanted, I'm not in opposition.
Oh, my apologies. Okay.
I just because
Oh, you let me know you were here.
I was just letting you know I'm here. Yes, I'm not in
Okay.
opposition. I'm in favor. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you so much. Okay, so that is unanimous out of our subcommittee. Thank you. Okay, our next bill.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Likewise. The next bill we have before us is House Bill 1101. And that is Delegate Hartman's bill, Worcester County. This one has not moved in the Senate at all. That's why I wanted to take those first three. Council, can you please explain the bill?
Sure. HB 1101 establishes a temporary to-go permit, a temporary to-go event permit allowing Class B beer, wine, and liquor license holders to sell alcoholic beverages in approved to-go cups for consumption within a designated special event area, and creates a new Class C per diem municipal to-go beer, wine, and liquor license authorizing municipalities to designate those areas for up to 7 consecutive days. And I believe there is one amendment on the bill. Would you like me to explain the amendments?
Yes, if you could explain the amendment
Sure.
on members, and I know that those amendments have been emailed to you. If you don't have them, we certainly make sure you will get them, but council will explain it at this time.
Of course. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 expands the temporary to-go event permit to all Class B and Class D beer licenses.
Okay. All right, before us, we have Delegate Hartman available, as well as Ms. Jeannie Hadaway is available. Questions from our subcommittee? Delegate Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, how many other counties are currently doing this? Because it's as we speak.
I believe this is also being done in Wacomico County.
Okay. And so we've created it's creating a special liquor license in those counties, in this county.
Yes.
Thank you.
Delegate Kerr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Hartman, I recall from the bill hearing that this is a situation where you will have a street festival where people in the designated area are permitted to purchase drinks in a designated area, but then they might be drinking that right outside of a commercial establishment that also sells alcohol, and this will simply allow the commercial establishment to also sell to patrons who can join the festival. Is that the bill?
Yes, if I may, thank you, Madam Chair, for bringing this forward. And to answer your question, Delegate, yes, this is strictly for special events. It's modeled after Wycomico County. They had the folk festival, which and what this does is it allows a certain area that would be designated, kind of closed off, whereas access is you're in a certain special event area. The entities that would partake in this would have a special cup or something so that everyone would know that that's a cup coming from an establishment that's participating. So if you're at, say, an oyster festival in the street of Snow Hill, then if you purchase something in one establishment, you can come out into the street, go over to one of the vendors with oysters or something, and move throughout the festival. Berlin is very much so looking forward to this as well. And it would be used for special events in those small towns.
All right, I move favorable.
Okay. What I want to do is make sure the council introduced the amendment. So let's pull that and take that first. Backtracking. Is there any discussion on the amendments? So we've done that, but do I have a motion on the amendment?
I'll move the amendment.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Move the bill.
Thank you. We have a move the favorable to move the bill. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. The bill as amended has been moved. Thank you.
And thank you to you and the committee.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay. The next bill before us is House Bill 1111. Council, will you please explain the bill?
Sure. House Bill 1111, as introduced, is a statewide bill regarding Class 3 wineries and Class 4 limited wineries. And the bill would authorize that either of these types of wineries would be able to sell and deliver bulk wine to a holder of a Class 3 winery license. There's also an amendment that would expand the definition of pumice brandy and would clarify that the holder of a Class 4 limited winery license needs to report pumice brandy distilled and bottled in order to make sure it's being covered by the alcoholic beverage tax correctly.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
On the amendment, again, when you say the word brandy, is brandy a type of wine?
Yeah, it's a distilled. So I guess there's a couple, but it's wine that's been distilled to sort of fortify it into a liquor, and then pumice brandy, similar drink but derived from sort of pulp left over after wine pressing. So it's a similar drink, a slightly different process.
Is it taxed as a wine or is it taxed as a liquor?
I will defer to the folks from ATCC to confirm that.
Sir, it is taxed as a distilled spirit. So the pomace brandy itself has been an ability that Class 4 wineries have had they've had the ability to make this. It's the pips, stems, and pulpy residue. After you make wine, you take that matter and you distill it down and you make pomace brandy. The wineries have always been able to do this. I think with the advent, and Mr. Boley can go more into this, with the advent of Maryland agricultural products that the Maryland General Assembly amended, allowing wineries to use Maryland agricultural products, onion wine, dandelion wine, things of that nature. This amendment would allow wineries who use that press, dandelion wine to make dandelion brandy.
But so it sounds like, and I'm only saying because the title is different than what we're talking about here. So it's not just wine, it's now also distilled spirits.
It's always been it is a distilled spirit, but it's always been under the authority of Class 4 wineries to produce. They've always had this ability to produce pomace brandy.
I'm just, again, forward-looking, thinking about what we're doing here but it is stepping away from what we've been doing with wine. Correct? It's not because, and I just want to make, and again, I forgot. So I just thought we differentiated spirits, wines, and beer.
I think Mr. Boley can answer some of the questions specifically for the wineries and why they'd like to do this.
No, the why is not the problem. I understand the why, I understand the logic. I'm just talking about what we're doing in this bill, and it is a statewide bill, and it's clearly because we're not just talking about wine anymore. And when we do these things, we have to think about, well, what's going to come next? Because they always come and remind us of what we did last year, which is why we want to do something more. I'm just trying to understand, because it does sound like we're stepping out of just wine territory, and I believe they're separating the 3 different categories into something even bigger.
Technically, Mr. Boley, you want to answer some of that? I can provide a little bit more technical.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may respond.
Sure, and within that, just explain the Class 3 and the Class 4 limited, and then into the why.
Yes. So I would describe essence a production winery. And then the Class 4 wineries are essentially a farm winery. That is something that most of us are familiar with. There's about 110 or so farm wineries throughout the state. There's about, I think it's 5 production wineries in the state. And The original intent of this bill was to codify that the farm wineries could sell and deliver, their wine to the Class 3 wineries. Because then the Class 3 wineries, the production wineries, take that wine that comes from our Maryland farms. It promotes Maryland agriculture, and then they turn it into their finished product. The new amendment regarding pomace brandy would expand what Class 4 wineries had been able to do previously, as previously described, make pomace brandy. It would now expand it, as 2 years ago, we can now make wine, from, as Mr. Acker stated, from things like watermelon, tomatoes, and other agricultural products. It now expands just for those purposes to brandy as well, not just pomace brandy. It's still limited to the 1,800 gallon cap. There's no change of that. So it's still, very limited production and extension on what Class 4 wineries had always been able to do.
Okay. Delegate Wilson, did any of the explanation assist at all in their inquiry? Oh, you're on mute. I'm sorry.
Again, I understand what they're talking about. I'm just trying to get to the root of what we're doing here, because it is more than just wine that they'll be able to ship now. And this is what the body wants to do. I just want, for clarification purposes, that if we want to start allowing wineries to now not only make, but actually ship things other than wine, because that's what the amendment does. Unless I'm missing something, it's now expanding it outside of wine. And the logic would be, so whatever they can make from whatever they're getting, we would allow them to at some point sell, and now ship to other areas. And now we're stepping outside of the wine class. That's all.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, discussion from our committee?
I'll move the amendment.
The amendment has been moved. Is there a second? Okay. Not hearing a second on the amendment. The bill without the amendment. Is there a motion on that?
I'll move without the amendment.
Is there a second on the bill without the amendment?
Second.
Okay. The bill has been moved and seconded.
Madam Chair, before,
Yes,
and I
sir.
apologize, ma'am.
Sure.
Because of, do you want to hold this? I know we have a lot to do. I don't want to slow this down, or however you're comfortable, but you want to hold the bill, or are you fine with moving forward?
Well, I want to certainly do the will of our subcommittee, and I want to make sure we're going in with the most information as possible. That's why I was just, want to be silent here if the committee had any questions.
I wouldn't support the amendment. I would not support the amendment. So
absolutely, and there wasn't a second, so I wanted to make sure I'm
just not trying to interfere too much. I apologize.
Yes. Oh no, you're fine. Delegate Clippinger, you're a veteran in this as well.
All right. So just tell me again now, without the amendment, what the bill does.
Tyler.
So the bill as introduced and potentially moved by the subcommittee, it would authorize the bulk sale of wine from a Class 3 winery to Class 4 wineries.
Okay.
We clear on the understanding, or do we want the will of the committee? Do you want to hold the bill for additional discussion or understanding?
Well, Madam Chair, if I may, my understanding is that Delegate Wilson's objection was to the amendment and not the substance of the bill. And since we did not adopt the amendment, I would suggest we move ahead with the bill.
Okay. Ahead with the bill. All those in favor signify by saying aye, moving forward with the bill.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. Aye, yes. Schmidt, yes.
Okay, motion's carried. The bill has been moved. and we have voted favorably on that bill. That was House Bill 1111. Thank you. Okay, our next bill before us is House Bill 1474. Council, can you please explain that bill?
House Bill 1474 is a Baltimore County bill. It would remove a prohibition that currently prevents the Baltimore County Board of License Commissioners from transferring certain Class B licenses to another election district.
Okay, and when this bill was introduced, it was indicated that this is like a cleanup bill. Is that your understanding, Council?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any questions from the committee? Delegate Ebersol, are you on the Zoom this morning as well? Okay, I don't see him. Any discussion at this time?
Move
Not
favorable.
hearing it. Okay, thank you. It's been moved favorable. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion's carried. House Bill 1474 has been approved. The next bill before us is House Bill 999. Council, will you please explain that bill?
House Bill 999 authorizes repeals requirements that a Class 9 limited distillery license only maintain one brand of each type of product. So in other words, this would potentially authorize limited distilleries to do contract distilling.
Okay. Delegate Klippinger, I know you're on here because this is your subcommittee. Would you like to further explain or discuss or further talk about the bill, sir?
The idea is that this doesn't expand the amount that they can distill, so it allows them to stay under the cap. This is kind of the craft brewing version of a distillery, so this allows them to use whatever capacity they have to, or up to, I think it's 30-some thousand gallons. It allows them to use up to that amount to enter into these contracting situations. Many of these smaller distilleries, they have additional capacity, and it's just a way for them to continue to grow their businesses.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns? Delegate Kerr?
Delegate Klippinger, is this a situation where they could use their excess capacity to produce vodka under someone else's label? And then, like, if I wanted to have my own vodka label, could I approach a distillery with excess capacity and have them distill some Ken's vodka for me, and that then I could distribute? Is that the situation that would come out from this?
So potentially you could. I think the idea is it allows for maybe some cross branding in some cases where the genesis of this bill was from Old Line Distillery in my district in Highlandtown, where they have that excess capacity, and it would allow them just to do just that, to allow that excess capacity to be used in such a way, but not more than 31,000 gallons in a calendar year. And of course, they're limited overall to 100,000 gallons that they can distill anyway. So the idea is it allows them to do it for a little less than a third of their existing capacity. So yeah.
All right, I'll move favorable.
Okay. There's been a motion to move favorable. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I do have a question real fast, just for clarity and understanding. So for this Class 9 limited distillery license, they only would have to pay that $500 fee. Is that correct?
That's their
Tyler,
annual, that's the existing license fee. So that they wouldn't be paying any more than they already are on the licensing fee. This just allows them to do something extra with the license that they weren't able to do before.
Okay, so no additional
No,
cost, just that standard fee. Okay, thank you so much. Understanding these bills as we move along. Thank you.
you're great.
All right, so I just want to make sure that all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion's carried. The bill has been adopted and moving favorably. That was House Bill 999. Okay, our last bill is House Bill 766. Council, will you please read what the bill does? Now, I can tell you we're not voting on this one today because amendments are still forthcoming. There's a lot of moving parts to the piece of to the legislation itself. There was a reprint from the bill sponsor. It's my understanding, Delegate Johnson, you're on this call as well. But let's begin with our council explaining the bill before moving into any amendments.
House Bill 766 is a statewide bill regarding premium cigar lounge alcoholic beverage license. It would establish that license. And so it would allow certain tobacconists to serve liquor, beer and wine drinks to customers. And it currently, as introduced, a local board is limited to issuing a license, one per 150,000 residents of a county. If you have fewer than that in your county, then you'd be limited to one of these premium cigar lounge licenses. It limits hours of sales Monday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay, now that was the bill. Now, can you, let's move to introducing the amendments.
So the amendments that were sent out are relatively extensive for the most part. They move the bill closer in line to recommendations made by a work group that was studying this issue for a couple years. So it makes some changes about definition of tobacconist, for example, clarifying that explicitly that hookah would not be included in the definition. It would only limit locations for sharing a wall with a health facility or childcare facility as opposed to just being adjacent property. And it would require the license holder be filing an affidavit with the clerk of the circuit court about compliance and require confirmation from, I believe it's a CPA, that the establishment is only making a certain amount of money from the sales of products other than tobacco. And it would just make sure that there's a conversion process for current alcohol license holders who want to transfer to this new premium cigar lounge license.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Is there discussion on the amendments? I see Delegate Wilson, followed by Delegate Kerr.
Again, I apologize, Madam Chair. This is a big deal to me. I don't understand. We, in years past, the issue we've had is that we have a Clean Indoor Air Act. And obviously this excludes them from that, which is kind of stepping away from the purpose. I know that we have some in existence already. And obviously I don't want to truncate anyone's ability to do business, especially because if we haven't done our job in properly enforcing it. But I'm really not sure how this takes us in a good direction, because the whole point of the Clean Indoor Air Act was obviously protecting individuals and the workers. Versus what we have now is we're going to be kind of walking away from that. And remember, this is every time we know this, that we're all veterans. When we start, we got to keep going. It's very hard to say yes and then come back and say no or slow it down. And I just have concerns. I'm more than willing to do whatever it takes for those individuals that have already invested in their businesses, the cigar lounges that were allowed to sell liquor. I don't believe that we should come back and punish them. However, I'm not sure that I'm overly comfortable with, again, walking so far away from the Clean Indoor Air Act, because I thought there was a purpose to it. So, and this wasn't on the amendments, it's just the bill as a whole, because I know there's gonna be more amendments, but I just wanted to give the listeners and Madam Chair, my view of my reticence in moving forward on a bill of this nature.
Okay, thank you. Delegate Kerr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had seen that Matt Boley was on the call before, but it dropped off, and I wanted to make sure that I heard from him on these proposed amendments.
Sure.
I'm back in. Thank you.
Okay, so that took care of you, Delegate Kerr? Okay, all right, and we're gonna shift their rates in a second. Delegate Clippinger, you may have the same inquiry. I don't know, but I wanted to hear from you as well.
I feel like I'm piling on a little bit with Delegate Wilson. So my initial concern, which may have one of my initial concerns, which I think may have been addressed and I've only seen a interlineated version for like 10 minutes and it's on my phone. So it's very difficult for me to read. So I'm grateful that we're not moving this bill this morning. I think that as originally drafted, this would have expanded the number of places that would allow alcohol to be served and with a cigar bar, number of cigar bars that could serve alcohol. It was going to greatly expand that number. When, as I remember the hearing, and I went back and looked at it again, the idea was to help the people who were already in existence and to protect those people as opposed to rapidly and greatly expanding to allow these licenses in a number of places. So there are many questions that I have. I think that when Mr. Boley gets to talk, whenever I shut up, that he'll be able to address some of my concerns. But I'll just, for the record, say, one, the hookah issue was a major issue for me in that I don't think that was the idea behind these establishments in the first place. Second, I broadly don't understand why we need to create any new licenses for this. I don't know why we can't just have people who already have a D license go and seek an add-on and just cap it to the number of places that already exist and are already doing this. I kind of see it as a grandfathering solution to this. I also, in my district, and I will say the 46th district is a little bit different because we have over 200 liquor licenses, maybe more in the district, but we have precincts that don't allow precincts that don't allow for new licenses to be brought in. And in Baltimore City, we don't allow new licenses to be moved from legislative district to legislative district. As it was originally drafted, it would create 3. I would want to make sure, and I think I saw it, but I would want to make sure that if this was creating, let's say, 3 new licenses for the city of Baltimore, that they didn't all land in the same legislative district. I could see that as being an issue. So I have some significant concerns, and I'll adopt the concerns that Delegate Wilson added with regard to the Clean Indoor Air Act, not necessarily to make them an afterthought, but there are a lot of issues here that need to be addressed. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Delegate Johnson, I know you're on. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Did you want to say anything right before Mr. Matt Boley does?
No, I know that we're short on time, so I'm going to allow Matt to go ahead and say his piece.
Okay, all right, thank you. Matt?
Good morning. Glad to speak to the bill, glad to speak to amendments, concerns. What's your preference, Madam Chair?
The amendments is probably going to be the most effective because that is pretty much a reprint from what we originally started from. So I'd like for you to speak to those.
The 4 amendments that we submitted to the committee, the first one is regarding the shared wall with potential with healthcare facilities or childcare facilities. It would make it so it's no longer adjacent, which was at least slightly ambiguous. To the concerns that were raised were shared wall in proximity to the tobacconist and a childcare facility or a health facility. This would ensure that going forward there could be no shared wall between a tobacconist, healthcare facility, and childcare facility. There would be a grandfathering in for those tobacconists who may have already had a shared wall or been in existence. If they are in existence currently and there seems to be no problem between the 2 facilities, that should be allowed to exist. But going forward, we have no problem with, ensuring that there can't be a shared wall between, tobacconist and a, healthcare facility or childcare facility.
Correct.
Amendment number 2 is a concern that we had heard. It would ban the smoking of cigarettes, electronic smoking devices, and cannabis in these lounges. Ban the consumption or smoking of those activities in the lounges. I think that is reasonably straightforward. Amendment number 3 is sort of a belts and suspenders amendment that would further clarify that any issue in some new licenses has to be consistent and in compliance with any of the local rules and regs at the liquor board. So, perhaps that may get to some of Delegate Clippinger's concerns. Obviously, open to further language and suggestions on that point. Additionally, on amendment number 3, pieces 1 through 3 of that were language from the Licensed Beverage Association, which we have adopted. My understanding is that moves them into a position of neutrality. Number 4 of amendment number 3 was us trying to set, some sort of, floor and cap onto what the license fees could be. That was from the Cigar Retailers Association. And amendment number 4 was a request from the Alcohol Tobacco Commission just to clean up on, what information has to be transmitted to the ATCC from the local licensing boards as to, who has exemptions from the Clean Indoor Air Act. So those are the 4 amendments that we have submitted to the committee since the bill hearing. Glad to speak to the reprint as well or any other concerns or questions.
Thank you, Matt. I did want to inquire the 150,000 per residence, the population, that's still in the bill, correct?
That's still in the bill.
Okay. Any other questions, discussions from the committee? Okay.
Looks like Delegate Ruth has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. Delegate Roof?
And I think
Thank-
Delegate Clippinger still has his hand raised.
Okay, let me move my screen. Okay, thank you. Delegate Roof, then Delegate Kippinger. And then we know that we're getting ready to go on the floor. Delegate Roof?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, I think Amendment 3 may address the concern, but I wanted to clarify, in Baltimore County, we have very carefully balanced, license quotas by population. And I wanted to make sure that we're not creating new licenses that will compete with people who paid a lot to get their license.
Yeah, Amendment 3 speaks to that dynamic. It requires that all licenses would have to be issued in compliance with Title 4 of the Alcohol Beverages article, and then Division 2 of the article as well. So it requires that all local rules, regs, and provisions have to be followed in the issuance of licenses.
Great, thank you so much. And I wasn't sure if we were talking about the bill, but I did just want to say me too to Delegate Wilson and Delegate Clippinger, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Delegate Clippinger?
I'll try not to go on about this, but so as I understand it now, this would allow at least one of these licenses to be issued in every jurisdiction of the state. Some jurisdictions getting at least one more, maybe 2, maybe in Baltimore County's case, I think 7 total. I think if I'm reading this right. And so I'm going to go back to the question that Delegate Ruth just asked. This, in fact, creates 7 new licenses in Baltimore County. Is that not true?
I would read it as creating the opportunity. It's within the board's discretion. It is a may issue. It's not a shall issue.
Okay, but really,
Potentially.
Mr. Bully,
Yes.
it's 7 more licenses, which, in the grand scheme of things may not be a whole lot, but it absolutely means that there are people who would be able to get licenses under this that would be that. Okay, so it's not taking existing licenses and adding the ability to have a cigar bar on top of it. It's creating 7 new licenses in Baltimore County.
The other piece I would offer to this is that any of the current licensees, the 13 in the state, the tobacconists who already have a local liquor license, they would count towards the cap as well. So it would be, sort of a minus 13. And then obviously the 150 to 1 ratio, always open the conversation as to whether that's the right number.
I guess I'm going to go back to the question, why don't we just take the 13 and allow them to grandfather? Why don't we just do that?
I think that's, I think that we've heard from many of our constituents, this doesn't, there's many people that want to see this expanded. We have this in the neighboring states. We have this in DC. I think it's a very reasonable, limited expansion. And whether the numbers are right or off, glad to have that conversation. But I think this is something that we want to see the ability for every county in Maryland to have, that it doesn't exist there right now.
Okay.
I'm certainly happy to talk to people. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, and I know you're very quick.
Sure.
I'm certainly happy to talk to more people and seek to address the concerns. I don't, sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate the discussion. That's why I didn't even ask for votes on the amendments. I want to make sure we discussed it. As I said, this is a heavy bill just for us to work through, and being our first meeting. With that being said, we're going to continue to work with the bill sponsor and the advocates and those who have concerns as well. So at this time, I want to conclude our subcommittee meeting, of the alcohol subcommittee meeting. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, second. All right, those in, we're adjourned. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.